How to become the Prime Minister in the UK. Hello everyone, today we're gonna be watching a video about how to become Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. A video from the channel called Draper. I hope I didn't butcher that name. And she's probably gonna tell us how this whole system works. Because for those who don't know, I am from Germany and I have absolutely no clue about UK politics whatsoever and I want to learn. So I think this video might be a great start into the politics side of the UK. And here is what I know before going into this video. I know that there is a Prime Minister in the UK and I know that he lives or his office is in Downing Street. And that's all I know. I have watched Doctor Who episodes where there were prime ministers, but it didn't really talk about what happens in the real world. The episodes that I watched, a prime minister was taken by aliens or something like that. I don't think that's very accurate when it comes to real life. So let's just watch this video and learn.
So, you want to be Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. You get to live in 10 Downing Street, meet the King, enact laws according to your will, and pet Larry the cat. But how do you get to be chosen? Well, you
Larry
just
the cat?
run for office, right? Next time an election comes around, you just put your name forward. Well, no. Unlike the US president, the Prime Minister isn't directly elected. You see, the UK is officially a constitutional monarchy, so officially, the monarch chooses the Prime Minister.
Whoa, I didn't know that. Here in Germany, it's like you have all those parties, those different parties all across the board from left to right. And then you vote for the party and the party tells you in advance if we get the most votes, this will be our chancellor. So you know if you vote for this party, this will be the chancellor and for all the other parties. This is how it works in Germany. Okay, so I thought it was kind of the same in the UK, to be honest. But I mean, I know there is a monarchy behind the politics in the UK, but I don't know much about this either. So I don't know how much they are really actually involved into politics. Oh, so they choose them. Okay. Also, there is a cat. Oh, you get to have a cat if you're Prime Minister. That's so cute. Does he live in Downing Street as well?
But really, it's more complicated than that. Although the monarch could just choose a random person off the street, they don't want to do that. Partly because it would make them a lot of powerful enemies with all the people who thought they were going to be chosen. And partly because that person has got to be able to work with all the people they need to run a country with.
True.
So as it stands, at the moment, the monarch always picks someone who can command the confidence of the House of Commons. In other words, get bills passed. So how does the monarch choose? Well, we don't have a written constitution, so instead we rely heavily on conventions of etiquette.
You don't have a constitution in the UK? That's also new to me. I didn't know that either. There is no constitution in the UK? Wow. Isn't that very dangerous? I mean, a constitution here in Germany is the most important. Those are the most important laws that you can't just take them away like all the other laws. In order to change them, you have to go through hell and back. But you don't have that in the UK? Isn't that really bad for the rights of the citizens that they can, like every other law, apart from the constitution, can just be changed if there is an evil person who's ruling the country?
Conventions of etiquette, long-standing rules on how the government should work. For example, no one ever created the office of Prime Minister. Like, there's no law anywhere saying that we must always have one.
Oh.
It's just that gradually one of the King's ministers got so important that they were called the Prime Minister.
Oh.
So over the years, we've tacked lots of layers of democracy and party machinations onto a system that is still at its core a monarchy. Those layers have changed over the years, but as it stands at the moment, the monarch always chooses the leader of the political party who has the most seats in the House of Commons.
Oh, okay. So this is not that far from what we have in Germany. So just with the exception that the parties do not choose, because in Germany the parties do vote. Like every single member of a party can vote for the chancellor, like for their possible chancellor. In the UK, it's also like the party with the most seats. Okay, I've just thought about this. So the monarchy chooses the leader of the political party who has the most seats in the House of Commons. So they're not really choosing anymore, right? If there is a party who has the most seats, they are automatically chosen, kind of. Or did it happen like in the last, let's say, 20 to 30 years that they chose someone else instead of the leader of the political party who has had the most seats? Or is it just a thing of they don't actually choose anymore? It's just like automatically the party who has the most seats in the House of Commons.
Moment, the monarch always chooses the leader of the political party who has the most seats in the House of Commons. So how do you get to be that? Well, first you'll want to look at becoming a Member of Parliament, an MP. An MP is a local representative for an area of the country called a constituency. There are 650 constituencies called things like Batley and Spen, Upper Bann and Tooting, so there are 650 MPs. They sit in the lower of the two houses of Parliament called the House of Commons. There is an upper house called the House of Lords, but the last PM to be chosen from the House of Lords was in 1963, and he renounced his peerage before he took office. The last PM to actually run things from the House of Lords was before the sinking of the Titanic. This hasn't always been the case, and in the 19th century it was actually much more common to have PMs from the House of Lords than the House of Commons, but it's the reality of the 20th and, so far, 21st centuries. So, to run for being an MP, you have to be a British citizen, or a citizen of the Republic of Ireland, or a citizen of one of the 54 countries of the Commonwealth, and who has indefinite leave to remain in the UK.
Sorry, what was that? Ah, okay, yeah, that's that map again. I've seen this map before in another video, and I thought it was really complicated because the Commonwealth is spread all over the planet. By the way, her explanations about this really complicated topic is done so freaking well. I love this video. Thank you so much already. I feel so much more informed than I felt like 2 minutes ago. She really explains it very easily to understand for everyone, even a non-native speaker.
Of the Republic of Ireland, or a citizen of one of the 54 countries of the Commonwealth, and who has indefinite leave to remain in the UK, over 18, not disqualified by bankruptcy restrictions, not sentenced to more than 1 year's imprisonment, not in the House of Lords, and not holding a job that dispars you. There are several jobs that...
Wait a minute, not sentenced to more than 1 year's imprisonment? You could have been in jail for 10 months due to something that you did, something illegal, and you can still become a member of parliament? Okay. I'm not judging, by the way. We have politicians, upper class politicians, that are way worse than this. They may not have been sentenced because they're rich. But yeah, I'm not going to say anymore. I don't want to get into legal trouble.
and not holding a job that dispars you. There are several jobs that are seen as being in conflict with being an MP, so you can't do them both at the same time. This includes being a civil servant, a judge, being in the army, or being in the police force.
Oh.
So if you have any of those jobs, you have to resign first. Now, technically, you could win an election at this level by standing as an independent candidate apart from any political party, but you've got your eyes on the top job, and for that, you'll need to be a candidate for a political party. Although there are any number of smaller parties you can choose from, none of them have ever sent anyone to the top job.
Wait a minute. Oh, I've never seen the UK parties. Plaid Cymru Party of Wales? Cymru? I don't know. I'm sorry if I butcher those names. Are these actual parties Monster Raving Loony? What? Is that an actual party? Because the others, like Women's Equality Party or UK Independence Party, they sound like a normal party, but Monster Raving Loony? Propel? Welsh Liberal Democrats? The Green Party, we have that in Germany as well. SNP. I think I've heard of SNP before. I've heard, I don't know. And DUP. What's the monster raving loony? This is the one that's. What? What even is that? It sounds more like a joke than a party, to be honest. I don't want to offend anyone, but coming from an outsider's perspective, all of these seem so serious. And then there's the monster raving loony, but okay.
Although there are any number of smaller parties you can choose from, none of them have ever sent anyone to the top job. So realistically, you need to be the chosen candidate for your area from one of the two major parties, Labour and the Conservatives, also known as the Tories.
Oh, that's almost. I'm sorry that I'm stopping so much, but there's just so much information I have to get it all in my head. So this one is almost the same like in Germany, because we have all those small parties as well, and also the Green Party. Our two most biggest parties for the last, let's say, 20, 30 years were the SPD and the CDU, which I guess are close to Labour, SPD, and Conservative CDU. And nowadays there's also a third, unfortunately, a third big party, which is the AfD. So it's not SPD and CDU anymore, but the far right wing has 25% of the votes of the people nowadays, unfortunately. So Conservatives are also called Tories. I have heard of Tories, like I have heard this word before, Tories, but I didn't know what it meant. So Tories are Conservatives. Okay.
Major parties, Labour and the Conservatives, also known as the Tories. So how do you get to be chosen by a party? Well, the party gets to make up its own rules for this, but generally you won't be decided upon by a national body, but by the division of the party for your constituency, for your local area. If you want to be chosen by the Tories, you must be a tax resident and have the right to work in the UK. You must have been a member of the party for 3 months. You must agree to the Nolan Principles of Public Life, established in 1995 for all public officials: selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, and leadership, and not be a member of a rival party. You apply online, and if you fit all the criteria, you have to attend a webinar, of all things, which lays out the next steps.
Really?
You pay
A
£110 for them to do what's called a due diligence check on you, which is where they presumably check if you're on the sex offenders register and whether there's any photos of you peeing against a war memorial. And you pay £250 for an appointment at your local assessment centre. Here you do a series of exercises designed to test your judgment, breadth of experience, political convictions, and integrity. Then you get put on the list of approved candidates, and you can apply to vacancies in specific areas. Once you've chosen your area, that local party puts together a shortlist of at least 6 candidates, and then party members vote using an alternative vote system.
To me, all of this sounds so complicated, almost unachievable, and yet Boris Johnson achieved all of this, went through all of this, and was approved.
Of at least 6 candidates, and then party members vote using an alternative vote system. If you want to be chosen by the Labour Party, you must have been a member of the party for a year, and the rest of their rules are hidden behind a paywall on their website. But presumably it won't be too different to how the Tories work. When you run for MP, you have to pay a £500 deposit, which you lose if you get less than 5% of the vote. But since you're the candidate for a major party, they'll pay that for you, as well as most of your election expenses. So, now you're a member of Parliament. You get to vote on making new laws in the UK, and you get to make this noise during the debates. Next, you need to be chosen as the leader of your party. So, bad luck if you chose to run as an independent. So how do parties choose their leader? Well, again, there are no laws on this. A party can choose a leader however it likes, so it will differ from party to party and from year to year. One thing that'll improve your chances is if you've held a cabinet or shadow cabinet position, like Chancellor of the Exchequer or Home Secretary. These are appointed by the leader of the party, so the person whose job you want to take. If you don't do any of these extra jobs and are what they call a mere backbencher, you might still get nominated to the leadership as a joke, But if you want to boost your chances, you'll vie for a cabinet position. If you're in the Labour Party, to be chosen as their leader, you have to be nominated by 10% of MPs and from 5% of constituency parties, or at least 3 affiliates, which make up 5% of affiliated membership, 2 of which must be trade unions. As you might expect from the name, the Labour Party is closely associated with trade unions and other labour organisations, and they get to vote on their policies and nominate leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who's got that many nominations goes into a ballot for party members and supporters.
Nominated by at least 10% of your party's MPs and at least 5% of constituent. Oh, yeah, okay, that's what you just said. Okay.
This goes into a ballot for party members and supporters. They all vote and rank their candidates in order of preference. The winner is chosen using an alternative vote system. The first person to get to over 50% of the vote is the winner. If you are in the Conservative Party, they don't have a set of rules that's the same each time. Instead, every single time they need a new leader, they have to announce fresh how it's going to work. For example, the process for appointing Liz Truss as party leader was very different to how Rishi Sunak got appointed.
How was Miss Truss chosen? The summer leadership contest, which Miss Truss won, was held over 3 months. Candidates were only able to enter the race if they had the backing of at least 20 Tory MPs. 8 contenders emerged, including Miss Truss. In a contest's first stage, Tory MPs chose 2 candidates to go forward to a vote of the wider membership of the party. To do this, Tory party's MPs whittled down the field with a series of votes. Anyone who received fewer than 30 votes or came last in each round was eliminated. The process continued until the 2 final candidates, Miss Truss and a former Chancellor Rishi Sunak, remained. In stage 2, Conservative Party members chose the winner in a postal and online vote lasting several weeks. Several weeks, okay. When the result was announced on 5th of September, Ms. Truss won 81,326 votes among party members compared with 60,399 for Mr. Sunak. I have never heard of any of those 2, by the way. Okay, and Rishi Sunak's appointment process. Rishi Sunak will be the new Prime Minister after he won the Conservative Party leadership election. The contest followed the resignation of Liz Truss as Prime Minister. Mr. Sunak will become the 5th Tory Prime Minister in 6 years. How did the Conservatives elect a new leader? Nominations. Under the rules of the latest leadership contest, candidates needed to have the support of at least 100 Conservative MPs. Oh wow, 100! With Miss Truss it was 20, not including themselves. Obviously. Rishi Sunak was the only one to reach that level and so became the party leader. As there are currently 357 Tory MPs, a maximum of 3 candidates could have met the threshold. The other contenders, Boris Johnson and Penny Mordaunt, both withdrew from the process, standing not the right to do so, says Johnson. Wait, but wasn't Boris Johnson Prime Minister? Now I'm a little, okay, everything I will say after reading this last paragraph will sound stupid because I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. But Boris Johnson was Prime Minister, wasn't he? Or maybe this was another year, maybe before he was Prime Minister once he failed. I don't know. Please enlighten me in the comments and be kind to me because I'm not from the UK. How am I supposed to know this? I'm just learning.
But you have to be a sitting MP, so no more Lords getting the leadership.
For now.
And like the Labour Party, they'll put together a list of people who've been nominated. They do not explain how MPs get nominated to the leadership. Usually they'll do ballots to whittle that list down to 2 candidates. Once it's down to 2, the ballot goes out to wider party members. Because there's only 2 candidates, they don't have to worry about what voting system they're going to use. It's just whoever gets the most votes. So, now you're the leader of your party. You get to sit on the front row in Parliament. But how does the King decide which leader to invite to become Prime Minister? Well, it's whichever one has a majority of seats, not votes, in the House of Commons.
Isn't it the same? Whoever has the most votes will also have the most seats. Isn't that how it works? How could you have less votes but more seats? Interesting system.
So, when the next general election rolls around, every constituency votes for their MP again, and not only do you have to keep your own seat, but also more of your party members have to win theirs than any other party. Since there are 650 seats, you're ideally hoping to get half that number plus one, which is 326. If 325 of your party members plus yourself win your elections from your constituency, then the previous PM will go to the king and recommend that you get invited to Buckingham Palace to be made the next Prime Minister. If you get more than any other party but still not quite 326, then you'll have to club together with a smaller party or two to make a coalition government where you promise to share power. If you can promise them enough power to keep them happy, then they'll add their numbers to yours to make up the 326 needed, and the previous PM will go to the king and recommend that you get invited to Buckingham Palace to be made the next Prime Minister. So that's the journey. Join a major party, become a candidate, become an MP, become party leader, and win a general election. Just 5 simple steps to becoming Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
Just 5 simple steps. Oh, that's the end of the video. Wow, thank you so much, J. Draper. Thank you so much for this video. It was really well done. I feel as if I do understand the election process of a prime minister, like to at least an extent of 80 to 90%. I will have to rewatch this video and also maybe watch other videos or see what happens in real time. By the way, when is the next election in the UK? Because I want to follow that process from start to finish the next time it happens. If there is something to follow, maybe news articles or something that you can follow along while it's happening, and to see all of this become real life. I guess that's how you learn the best, but I really feel very informed. I do know so much more than I knew like 10 minutes ago. And thank you so much for the video, and also the questions that I have asked. And also I know I have said stupid stuff throughout the video. That's usually what you do if you don't understand the topic you're going into, and you have to talk about it though, because you're doing a reaction video. You can't just go in there and not talk at all and just learn as you would in private. You will say stupid stuff, and I know I did. That's what happens. But the questions that I have asked or the stuff that I have said that was wrong, you can help me out in the comments. Just be kind and tell me what I said wrong so I can learn. In addition to watching this video, I can learn from your guys' comments. You are the biggest help for me in order to get where I need to get, where I want to get, to understand everything. You've helped me so much throughout other videos that I have watched, and then you corrected the people who made the videos and told me how it actually is. I've learned so much from your input. So please help me out. And if you do like the channel, maybe you could subscribe to it. There are not many people who have subscribed to the channel yet, and I'm still small and want to grow. If you want to help me out, if you do like my content, maybe consider subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye.